Hey there. So I decided I was going to try to make this little leather ring again out of fabric this time, because obviously with fabric you can get lots of different colors and different patterns, and it'd probably be a little bit easier to find. I spent today trying to find some more colors, and at the store they didn't have any more. So I did order some, and we'll see how that goes. They didn't have an option for choosing colors, so I'm assuming I'm going to get like an assortment of colors. There's also a place on Etsy that you can order from. Just search for suede online. But anyway, I thought maybe I'd just try to give it a shot with fabric. So I haven't tried this yet, so this is going to be live, figuring this out with the fabric. So to do this, you're going to need the graph paper and pencil, and a ruler and tape measure, and that's to make your pattern, and then a pair of fabric scissors and a pair of paper scissors, and then we're going to use a needle and thread and your glue, handy paper and toothpick, a marking tool. I'm going to use my chalk wheel again. I'm also going to use some stiff interfacing. This is the heavy duty interfacing. It's very thick. It feels like a little bit like paper, so that's why I'm going to use it. Now there's two kinds of interfacing. There's the kind that's got little spots of glue on the back, and that kind you have to use a wet cloth to fuse it to your fabric. This kind doesn't require a wet cloth. It's just a dry pressing cloth with it. And then I raided my fabric stash, a quite substantial fabric stash, and I found some fabrics that I thought would be cute to make a ring with. So I think I'm going to start with the pink cheetah print, because that's fun. So anyway, I thought since you could just get a whole lot more colors and stuff with fabric, I'd try it with that, so we'll see how it goes. So your pattern is just going to be 3 rectangles, and here are my pattern pieces. So you're going to need one piece for the bow that's going to be twice the height of the bow here, and twice the width of the bow here to here, and then add on a little bit for the securing tabs like we did with the leather. So this piece is about 4.5 inches wide by 2 inches tall, a little bit more than 4.5 inches wide. And then you're going to need a piece for your band that's going to be twice the height of the band. So if you want a 1/2 inch thick band, you're going to use a 1 inch piece of fabric, and then your circumference plus a 1/2 inch, so that we can have some overlap on our band. And then the third piece is the bow strap, the part that goes across the top here, and I'm going to guess that we're going to need it to be about 1 inch wide by 2.5 inches long. So these are our 3 pieces, and so I've already got my iron heated up. I'm going to get set up to iron on the fusible, or the, not fusible webbing, but the interfacing, and I will be right back. What I did was I just took my 3 pattern pieces and laid them on top of a little section of some scrap interfacing that I had from another project, so that I just use a little bit. It can get kind of expensive when you do lots of crafts with it. So anyway, I just laid them on there and just cut out the smallest amount that I needed, and then a piece of the fabric to go over it. And this is the board that I used. It's got a pressing board underneath it, but I just put some craft paper over the top of it, some heavy duty paper, and that's what I used when I was doing my screen printed scarf the other day. So just because there's a little bit of paint on there, I'm going to lay down my pressing cloth and put my fabric down over it. Now this goes, the interfacing, there's a shiny side and then a dull side. So I'm going to do the shiny side down on top of my fabric here, and then fold my pressing cloth over it. And again, this is just a piece of t-shirt material. And take my hot iron, and according to the instructions, I can't remember, I think it said like 30 seconds or something like that, but basically I just do it until when I check on it, the interfacing is stuck to it really well, stuck to the fabric really well. So every time I go to the fabric store, I have to look at the remnants, because they're always on sale, and there's a lot of different pieces of fabric in there. So I've got a huge stash of remnants, and I just grab whatever appeals to me, because it's usually like $2 or $3, and sometimes you get just little pieces, but sometimes you can get almost a full yard, and you may not know what you're going to do with it, but if you're crafty, you can use it for all kinds of different stuff. So anyway, I bought a whole bunch up at Christmas time, and I'm still having fun with it. So anyway, that is where I got this cheetah print, because otherwise, I doubt seriously I would have picked up some pink cheetah print fabric, but I've already used it for 2 or 3 things. So I'm going to go ahead and finish pressing this, and I will be right back. Alright, so after you have gotten your interfacing stuck to your fabric really well, just make sure it doesn't peel up at any of the edges or the sides, and that you don't feel, if you hold it like this and kind of roll it back and forth like that, you can see if the fabric kind of bubbles away, you haven't got it fused all the way. So after you do that, just lay your pattern pieces down and trace around them, and then cut it out. And I'm going to use the tape again to tape these pieces down, and trace around them with my wheel and cut them out again the same way we did with the leather, and I'll be right back. Alright, so here are my 3 pattern pieces cut out, and I've got my pressing board back out again, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler here and line it up on the 1 inch mark, because this piece is 2 inches wide. Depending on how wide you make it, you just want to make sure that you put a line down the middle of your cutout piece. So just depending on, you know, I'm going to have to do these at 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to line it up here, and then just make a couple of small little marks on here, so that we can fold to the center line. And I'm going to do that 1/2 inch on these. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold each edge to my center line here and press it in. And this is so we don't have to sew anything, and we won't see these raw edges. So this interfacing is kind of nice because it holds a fold pretty well. And then fold this other side to meet the edge you just folded in. Okay. Now, once you've got it folded, just fold your pressing cloth over it. Make sure you keep it held down. Now get your iron and press those folds in. And just let it cool off. I'm going to flip this over this way and set that over to the side, and I'm going to do the other 2. Alright, now I have my folded and pressed pieces, and just to make it look a little bit cleaner, I'm going to take and glue the flaps down with my toothpick and glue combo here. So just smear a little bit, and then just push it together, Now, depending on what kind of fabric and interfacing and glue you use, this glue may peek through, so just be aware of that when you do all this. Okay, so now that I've got everything glued together, it's still kind of wet, and the glue really doesn't like sticking to that interfacing right now because it's still wet. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to take, this is our bow piece, and just fold it in half to find the center, like that, and then open it back up, and now just fold over, and you're going to want to have a little bit of this, remember the securing tab from the leather one, so we're just going to fold it over and cross over that center a little bit, and then do the same thing for the other side, and try to make it even as much as possible. Okay, so folded it in half, and then folded the two end pieces to the center and overlapped it a little bit. Now we're going to flip it back to the front. Now fold it in half the long way, so like this, and then fold the two edges down, or the two outsides down, so that if you were to look at this like in cross section, it's going to look like a W when you do it this way. So now you've got that all folded in place, and you're just going to want to take a piece of thread and secure this. Alright, so I think the easiest way to get this thread through there is just going to be to, after you've folded it the way you want to fold it, so you know where you're going to need to run the needle through, basically you're going to want to run it straight through the folds. So I'm going up from, or I'm going down from the top, and pull it through a little bit, and then where the fold was for the center, so just fold it in half in the front again. Okay, get this out of the way. I'm going to push the needle through the center there. Alright. And then I'm going to go back down on the edge. So all I've done is just stitched through it twice, really. So now you're going to want to fold it back like you had it, and pull your string tight through there. And wrap it around a couple of times to secure your fold. Now I'm just going to run it back through a little piece of the fabric here and tie it in a knot with my end over here. And again, this doesn't have to be pretty because this is going to be covered up. Okay, and then you just want to straighten up your bow a little bit, and if you need to, take a pair of tweezers and you can push in that fold again that doesn't sit the way you want it to. I'm just using the back end of a pair of tweezers here. Okay, and this is not going to be the kind of bow where you can see through. You can see when you turn it on its side, it's just a flat bow. Okay, so now for the band. we're just going to take it and overlap it about 1/4 inch, and again with the needle and thread secure it in place. I'm just going to go down on one side and then back up through the other side. Okay, then tie that in a knot. Alright, and then just try it on, make sure it fits you right. It may feel a little bit loose, but don't forget we're going to run this crossband underneath there, so if it does feel a little bit loose, it might be taken up with that. Okay, so I've got my band secured, and then I just took another piece of string and thread and needle, and I just ran up through the band, left it a loop, and then back down through the other side, and this is where we're going to secure the bow on. So the other kind of glue I had really doesn't want to stick to the fabric, so I've got this, it's called Amazing Goop, and I'm going to use a little bit of that. Again, just put a little bit on my paper, put some on the back of my bow here, trying not to make too much of a mess with it, and then I'm going to take it, move my loop of thread out of the way, and sit my bow on the center of my band, basically where I had the knot from where I secured my band together. Alright, and then I'm just going to run my needle back through my band here so that my needle and the end piece are on the same side, and pull it tight. Actually, I'm going to bring the needle up through one more time around, just to make it a little more secure. And then I'm going to tie my knot. Now take the crossover piece, and we're going to again fold that in half and find the center. Put a little drop of glue there. And stick that to the top of the bow in the center. Just find out how much you want lapping over. I'm going to trim a little bit off of both sides here. So now I'm just going to trim off a little bit from both sides of this securing or crossover piece. And then get a little bit more glue on my, because this stuff dries really quickly. I'm just going to smear that on the inside of my ring, right here. Basically where I had my thread go through, you'll be able to see it on yours. And then I'm going to put a little on the sides as well, like right here. Fold that in and just hold it for a second so it sets, and then I'm going to do the other side the same way. The ring is pretty much done now, but I don't think that the glue is holding it as secure as I want it to be. It may be fine after it dries, but I'm not that patient. So I'm just going to make sure everything's pulled tight in here. crossover piece, and I found some pink thread that I had from what I have no clue, that matches the base color of my ring, and not like anybody's going to see this part because it's on the inside, but so I'm just going to basically just do, I don't know what it's called, a whip stitch maybe. I'm going to go in and up through the end of that little edge piece. I don't know if you can see. Here. And again. And then I'm going to go back across. Alright, once you get back to where you started, just tie the two ends together in a knot and you are done. Okay. That is my pink leopard print bow. Very fancy. Alright. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and again, if you make one, send me a picture. Bye!